to love, and I feel like Jeffrey is ready to lie.
Well, Jeffrey came over there to have a conversation, and it didn't go the way that Jeffrey, I guess, thought it would. She proceeded then to call out Sue-Ann as
I wish you had an Anchorman clip where he'd be like, well, that escalated quickly.
0 to 100. Jeffrey said, listen, I'm from around the way. I came here, but I ain't gonna leave here with I'm gonna leave it with something. Yes, Sue.
Here's my thing. Sue-Ann is like one of these girls who be my man too loud. First of all, even if Jeffrey is lying, you don't know Jeffrey or Blake to be getting up on this confessional talking about you believe that Jeffrey's lying and you believe Blake. That's the reason why she's a pick-me. She's a pick-me because once she's delusional, she's not aware of her actual place in Blake's life. That's what makes her a pick-me. But number two, the episode was called The Advocate for a reason. She's advocating for a man, going hard for a man that she doesn't know. She does not know if Blake's lying. The same way she doesn't know if Jeffrey's lying. So the best thing to do is, look, you brought back the message. He said it wasn't true. I don't know neither one of y'all. So let me stay out of it. Instead, she's going so hard advocating for a man that she doesn't know. There's a lot of people who won't be my man about their husband because they know you say stuff too loud, you make a fool, let alone a man you just met. That is very pick-me energy. And that's what I have to say about that. I will say that Jeffrey did come at Sue-Ann crazy. And she shouldn't have came down there coming at Sue-Ann like that, because at the end of the day, that energy should have been for the person she just left the conversation with. She didn't need to be coming at Sue-Ann because Sue-Ann didn't do nothing wrong by going back and asking Blake a question that relates to her. Because if you're saying that he only likes you, Sue-Ann has the right to ask him a question and bring it back to him about that particular situation. But so she has a right to bring back the information. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like her caping for a man she doesn't know. It gives very insecure and delusional. Wouldn't be me.
Mm-hmm. Who wants to tackle this next?
Wait, okay. I see it kind of different to how Seaway sees it, that's for sure. Listen, if Jeffrey doesn't care about Blake, she doesn't like Blake, she don't need to come with that energy at all. There's no justification for it. Because just like the allegations she made against Blake make him look bad, the attitude and energy she's bringing, man, it's making her look bad too. Like, I don't see this soft-spoken person, feminine, that you see. I see someone that's really petty and ready to let somebody have it verbally in order to get her point across, or if you don't agree with her. And that's not going to bode well for future relationships when you have conflicts or ups and downs or things to go through. So the shop window right now is the way she's presenting herself in this particular Blake situation, only because she's found herself at the center of it because she started it. Like, she's not feeling the brother. Boom, let him go and talk to the other girls. She don't have to be near him. She don't have to date him. She don't have to go nowhere with him. She's made her stance quite clear, right? I think he is probably in a situation where, because of what she's labeled him, it's going to cast a cloud over his name and the way that other women view him. Yeah? Like, when you throw out that narc word and controlling, those are the two probably worst things you could say about a guy that you're just meeting, right? So if the other ladies see that, they're going to nod their head and be like, yeah, I don't want to get to know him. You know? So I think Blake may be aware of that, which is why he didn't want the confrontation to escalate. Because let's not get it twisted. If he had told Jeffrey repeated what the allegations were, then she would have definitely given him pushback. She's not going to sit back and be quiet and be like, yeah, you know, I was wrong and didn't. No, she's going to be wrong and strong on that. So we will never know what happened because, unfortunately, it was a conversation that's been taking place off camera, off screen. So it's he say, she say. But we're not there for that. That's not what the show's about. And unfortunately, with Jeffrey's story in this, is staying too much around this dislike for Blake. I do get that she's, you know, started started getting closer to Mark Anthony, and we've already discussed, that might not go anywhere. But aside from Mark Anthony and then Demario, who she's now kissed Mark Anthony in front of, like, man, she's just, I don't know where Jeffrey goes from here. I really don't. Now with Sue-Ann, I think she likes Blake, obviously. But I don't think she particularly enjoyed the exchange with Jeffrey. And I hope that's not a continuing theme where they continue to go at each other throughout the rest of the season. Because that's not what they're there for. It's just wasting time and it's making them both look bad. So if Sue-Ann likes Blake, let them pursue their situation, however it develops. But Jeffrey, focus on other things. You know you don't like Blake. You're put off by Blake. Try and nurture the connections that she does have instead of wasting time.
Love that rendition. Any other thoughts, guys? Sophie, go for it.
Yeah, I don't have much thoughts on this. I mean, I think there might be some beef between Jeffrey and Sue. I don't like Sue as well. It does remind me of many things. Her approach, again, lack of maturity. Like you know, there's a way that people are able to hear you. If you're correct and you have some truth, you don't have to come at it where you have to belittle someone. As much as I'm not keen to Blake, her approach was very harsh, and just like how she spoke to Sue, it was condescending, and people zone you out. They don't want to hear you when you approach them that way. So yeah, I think she has some possible, growth to do. I don't have anything else to say between her, that interaction that she had there. But I did scoop Demario how he was looking. He was like, okay, I'm done with you, but I'm gonna sit here and soak up whatever I can so I can probably save some ammunition for later. It was inappropriate, right? Too, because she had a connection with Demario. Now you're bringing, I guess that's the weird part about dating multiple people all at the same time. But she could have, there was a bit of disregard to Demario's feelings yet again. So I kind of feel bad for him. I think he's one of the few people here that possibly have put in some work and is at a place to be like, hey, I'm open, I'm ready, I can be vulnerable. Even if some of my, shortcomings flare up at times. So yeah, I'm rooting for him. Hopefully he can find someone on the show. For now.
I just want to highlight the irony of the situation here. If you guys missed it, besides the facials that she was given after Sue-Ann said, ain't nobody voted for you in the men's lounge. The irony of it is you came down, you went to Blake and you sat down with Blake and you played dumb in his face when he didn't directly tell you what the problem was. Now here you come down to Sue-Ann and you're going to indirectly try to tell her about herself going to talk to him about it. Sweetie, if you don't knock the foolery off, you should have just went down there and just straight out said, hey, you tell him what I said up in the ladies' lounge, woo, 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 this, and let's get it popping, instead of trying to talk about, I just had a conversation. I want to know what you guys think, and not listen to nobody when they tell you what they think. Okay, you was not trying to hear any of the conversation. You was just trying to really come at Sue-Ann you was trying to send for and you got your ticket rejected. That's what that was. I need you to be direct as you wanted Blake to be direct with you in that moment. And I just give Sawan her props in that moment because she said, I told him what you said, and it is what it is. Or whatever. And so in that moment, she started getting So you want to come at people, you especially the women, be prepared to come at the women, and they come back at you. Okay, it's a different fight when you come at a man. It's like he can't really come back at you the same way that you might think, you know, or whatever. But women can come back at you. You a woman. And if we want to get the tussling all up across this boat, that's what we can get to doing. You know, it is what it is. But you was not prepared, and you thought you was just going to try to call her out for being messy, as you want to put it, and putting her cape on and all this stuff, and it backfired in your face. You should have stand 10 toes down and said, hey, sis, I understand that's your connection and all, but please do not go back repeating anything I tell y'all in warning, because I was trying to look out for you. And then that's the other thing. She tried to hit the girl code on her. I'm just trying to do this for you. You know, okay, if I warned you, I'm saying if I warned you once and you don't want to hear me out and you want to continue to date this man, well, by all means, bye, sister. I told you. That's all I got to do. I owe you nothing. You owe me nothing. We are not real friends like that. So me telling you my experience with this man, and that wasn't enough for you, by all means, have at it. Have at it. I don't need to come and keep trying to taint him, in your opinion, every single time. And clearly it still ain't working, because Suan got up in that confessional and said, no matter how you feel about it, I'm still going to date the man. So it is what it is. Let it go. Let it go.
Yeah, I think that was a clear example of that's triangulation, right? Because she tried to isolate Blake and then, you know, use the ladies to say something about him and isolate him, and then got called out. And that's my problem. Now, I would say two things can be true at the same time, right? So it's not that I'm a big supporter, and I don't think anybody else on here is like, oh, we see love between Suan and Blake, and we're rooting for them right now. No, that I'm not saying that. I don't want to speak for Jay. I don't think she's saying that, or JR, or anybody. What we're saying is we are calling out Jefferi's bad behavior, right? And how she managed the situation. I'm not even calling her a liar. I'm willing to offer up that some of the things she said about Blake were true. But what I have issue with is if you said those things, then be prepared to defend them. Be prepared to speak to them. And then if you don't want to talk about it, which you have every right to do, don't now circle back to Suan and try to like dredge up, well, what did you say and why'd you say it? If you don't want to talk about it because you don't have any specifics, there's no need for you to talk to Suan. It's done. You left the conversation with Blake. We're done. We're good here, right? You agreed on that. So be done and be good here and nurture the connections now that you do have, because now you got one less for sure. And you might have several others depending on how things play out from the other fellas, seeing how you reacted. So be strategic, be smart, because you playing around trying to make an enemy out of Suan. She could be a pick me or a pick Misha, or she could be a non-picky, whatever she want to be. But you picking this fight with her ain't doing nothing for you but putting you in the middle of mess. So I would say stay out of that, because again, that's another sign of you not being a comfortable person for men to be with. Because if you're at the center of a lot of drama, nobody wants that, because that means you're going to bring drama at the household, you know, and nobody wins when that takes place. So that's my thoughts on that. I really think she should have just, if she wanted to keep it at, she's not going to talk about whatever she said about Blake unless it's directly brought to her, then keep that same energy. Leave Suan alone. Sometimes you got to have information and keep it in your back pocket. That's the smartest person. You got information, you know it, you see it, boom. Now I know that if I say something, Suan's going to go back and tell anybody, right? So be strategic about that. Why don't you tell her things that you want her to go repeat that are going to benefit you. So use her wisely if you want to play like that. But the arguing and the back and forth, and then you're going to bring a knife to a gunfight because you wind up looking, you know, you ain't do nothing. You wind up actually losing. So there's that. And DeMario is pissed at you because you kissed Michael Anthony or Mark Anthony. So look, not smart, less than smart moves that Jeffrey made.
Who's next? Go for it, Sam.
So yeah, a lot of things that everybody said, I agree, some I disagree. I do agree that, well, I said it first. I thought she was petty and immature, and I thought she came to Suan and DeMario because she wanted to fight with Suan. Because if you think about it, as soon as she realized that Suan went and told him, that's when she went to them and they had the back and forth. As I've said before, I like the question that Suan asked her, which was, do you think that maybe you didn't communicate well? I do feel that if Jeffrey came with a different attitude, maybe a discussion with Suan would have been less tense, and that would have been good for the both of them. I do think that they both end up looking crazy, in my opinion. Suan, because as Siwe says, she doesn't know Blake. She doesn't know none of those people. So making that, so like, I would not do all that. Like, I think I would have done what Sean said, which is, I would have been like, okay, well, that's on you. I just hope that we won't hear about it again next week. The one thing that I do disagree is that I do think that DeMario is going to stay with Jeffrey as long as she's going to have him, because I don't think that those men are looking to get married anyway. I think that all that they see is a pretty lady, and Jeffrey she got that. That's my opinion. I think Jeffrey is going to have all those men behind her. All of them, because they're not serious. That's my only point. Those that are not serious, they will stay behind her, because at the end of the day, a lot of humans, you're like toxic ladies. So that attraction that they have in Jeffrey is because she's toxic, because she's not prettier than all the other ladies that are there. Mercedes and beautiful, all those ladies be cute. They like that spice that she's bringing. That's on me. We'll see.
The reason why I disagree with that is because all the other guys also voted her into the bottom. They don't like her. They think she's got a shell or whatever. That was a nice way of saying, listen, she's just too difficult. And you're right, there are other ladies who they may find attractive, but the fact is, it wasn't just Blake that put her down there. It was all the other guys as well. When they went around the room, she was one of the names mentioned the most. So I think Jeffrey is a fire starter. I think she's a disruptor. Right? From what I've seen, she's been at the center of most of the controversial parts of this season. Right? I'm not trying to keep score or anything, but it just seems to be her at the center of the dissension in the group. So yeah, I mean, people may think that guys like toxic. Yeah, maybe some do, but when there's the other elements that it's not just the toxicity, there's other things that she does that may rub people up the wrong way, and she seems to be very I won't say self-centered. I would say she lacks self-awareness. Why? Because there's like the settings where she's doing these things, the ladies' lounge, for example, like that's gonna obviously pollute people's mind about Blake, because all of his potential suitors are in the room. When she's addressing Suan about what was said, she's not even thinking that DeMario's sitting right opposite, swigging his beer, rolling his eyes, trying not to get involved. Like, he is a potential suitor for her in her mind, and she's not even cognitive that how she's behaving may be putting him off. I'm not saying it is, but it may be. So she just seems quite aloof, and Yeah, I just don't see it for her. I just don't get the impression that she's liked by many, and as such, I don't think she's gonna be around too much longer.
Yeah,
I
JR,
think
they said you really got it in for JR. I mean, for Jeffrey. They
For
said-
me? Oh no.
no, JR really has it in for Jeffrey. I got.
Yeah, it's just the bad vibes. Like, everybody should be there to have a good time, date. You know, there's a process of elimination. If you're not feeling someone, just move on to the others. But when you have this streak of I need to be mean, or I need to be unkind, or I need to label someone, a few seasons back, when on a Kalfani season, we had the girl that was into him, the personal trainer, and she went and called Rashid a narcissist, and
Denise.
that, yeah, she tried to pollute people's mind. That's exactly what I'm seeing with Jeffrey. And it seems like the producers may copy and paste these type of dramas, because that same kissing game is the same game played with Sabrina, Tori, and Demetrius. You know, so it seems like they might recycle things that cause talking points and controversy in the group, like ruffle some feathers and see how they survive and stick it out, right? So, yeah.
Well, I guess we got to thank the producers. Now we up here talking about it.
Indeed.
Lord, I'm ready to move on from it.
You'll be delivered.
Me
Don't
too.
worry about it. You'll be
Tell
delivered.
us how you really feel, Seaway.
Any other thoughts? Any other thoughts, guys, on this before I move it?
Moving forward, shout out to Miss Misha.
Moving forward.
Okay. Let's get on to the last one. We're going to talk about this right here. We're going to talk about this right here. Actually, I said last two. Actually, there's still two more couples who had a conversation. Let's talk then. Because you know what? Can't lie to you. You know what? She gave us a different aspect of her. So I was pleased.
And what got me here. So I'm so happy that both of us have great examples because I think that we would make a good parent.
You think so? Some people are for you. Some people match your energy. Some people match your...
Kavea and Kavea and our brother, Demario, finally had a little bit of a conversation, and it seems as if, you know what, there was a little bit more a little bit more interest. Demario went to bat for her later on as well. I mean, he went to bat. I mean, it was crazy to see how hungry he was for Kavea. Like, I don't know what was going on. But they had their conversation, and it seems as if